Good morning, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. A rudder hinge. You see how that fits in there. This is the rudder pin. It goes in the hinge. And that recesses in the pocket. So the other hinge will recess in there with it. Hook to the keel. But we have to pre-bend our pieces just on the rudder side. The other one will have to be shaped a little better than it is, but we got to turn this shape into this shape. So we're actually recessing that pin at a hinge point into the pocket on the rudder so that it's almost flush with the outside edge. But in order to do that, we got to bend this piece, and 4 of them. We got 2 done to match that shape, and it's not too easy. So the first thing I did before was trap the pin in there. Get that down in the vise if it doesn't grip it. Right away. Try to get that to grab it. Somewhere around there. And get that open back up. Because I got to put a 90-degree, actually it's going to be spreading from the position that the shaft in the pin holder is. Close and open. So the cutters, I'm not going to cut it obviously, but the cutters allow me to close a neck around that shaft pin. Now you can see my neck is too far up. I got to be down in the pocket of the hinge a little more. So I'm going to open that back up. Try to get a better grip on it here. I might be able to do that with the pliers, but I want to get that to wrap around that almost 270 degrees or better. Then after I get that wrapped, and it's fairly tight in there, I got to bend that back open, but I don't want it to bend too much open. So I'm using something flat to push on it. And using this as a shape form. I've got the general shape, but I got to get that to squeeze up a little more. Oops. And then bend it backwards a little bit. So I slid this up to the end so I could grab it here with the cutters but not cut it. And open this down. And then come back up at the thickness of the rudder. So that's close. But I want those corners to kick back in toward the rudder a little bit. So open that up some. Grab this so I can kick it back against it like that, and then close that. Now it's a little awkward because this needs to get to the right dimension here. See, that's a little bit too much. So I got this side's okay on my left, but the right is too wide. So I got to straighten it out and close that opening up a little bit. At a different bending point. Which is hard to do because the dimension is so tight in between there. Somewhere around there. It helps if you have several different sizes to work with the pliers. A little bit of curve on that opening there. Put it back in our pin again. Yeah, that's pretty close. I can feel it at the bottom. Yes. So that will work. Not quite as nice as the first two, but it will work. And do that one more time, and we'll be ready to shape the other side. I'll have to play with this on the rudder, the keel part of the rudder, and it is a little wider than this bend is here on the bottom, so I'm going to have to play with that too. And I want this to grab around that pin a little better than the way it looks, so I'll try to close that up a little better than it is, and then get it to fit on there better. Alright, got the pieces fashioned. That's the third one. I just ordered 20 more because I got 4 left, plus this one, and very carefully, without breaking it, get a hole in that walnut. That's the hardest part, drilling these holes without breaking a drill bit. See how that just sunk in there? So much better when you pre-drill. They're like $1 a piece for those drill bits, so it's not that big a deal. So I'm not pushing on that other one because it's really close to it. And then I take this and I want to push it back, suck that thing where the pin goes up in that pocket. I'm going to move the camera a little bit so it's not in the way. Push that back and make it straight. Once I get that started, now we're home free. Now we just gotta punch a couple more holes. Without breaking the drill bit. Like that. It sucked in on me because, you know, it's a drill bit. It wants to suck in. And when I tried to pull back, I should be using the drill press on this. I tried to pull back, it broke it off. There's a little bit still here. I'm going to use that to give me a starter hole. Last time I did that on this other one, I was still able to drive a pin in. Sometimes you can pull the drill bit out, but they're so fragile. And that one is fighting the opening of the brass hole and the broken drill bit inside. Well, we got her in there. One more pin. Voila. Really close. After I cut a piece of this shaft material, the pin material, I'm going to tap that one down a little bit, and this one, try to get them as flush as I can before we do the measurements on the keel of the rudder. And we install those other pieces. Of course, we got to drill a hole up through here, down through there. Yeah, we got to get a hole for this handle to stick up through there before we can get this on here. But that's a big step because those were tough little bends to make. And we got them all where they'll accept this pin. I just got to cut them to fit in that opening. Cut to that length there. And fit in there. And I may try to ping the head of it a little bit so it won't slip through before we cut them. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. Okay, as you can see, we have installed the rudder, and it sticks up through the hole there. Alright, so along with fastening those pins to fit in there where they won't fall out, I did put a little dab of super glue on the top of them. The bottom part's where it moves at. And we installed this little eyelet in the brass strip. So that takes care of this step 46. We got the stanchion on both sides, the rudder, the eyelet. So then we go to 47. And 47 is using these pre-made pewter pieces that we'll paint with some gold and black. But to install them, you got to cut the strips away and fashion a hole in the side of the ship. So I turned the big print around, and this is a view and a side, the port side, where that thing mounts at, just underneath that top rail, and cutting away the rail there below it, and 45 millimeters from this point over to the beginning of the decorations. So with that in mind, made a mark here where the 45 millimeters is from over here. And then I laid this up there, and I made a mark on this piece of trim board and cut it out of the way. And I just finished marking this opening that we got to cut through there. And I think that's in between two of the main frames in the ship, so we should be okay there. We just got to whittle that out very carefully. And I think this gets a little brass. Yeah, I think it gets them two up there, one on each side of the ship, is the way they're shaped. And there's a little curve, or not a curve, but probably a 20-degree angle bend that we got to make in them to fit around that rabbet. I'm pretty sure that's the two pieces that go in there later on. So the rudder's done. That was a big job. It came out pretty good though. I like the way it looks, so, and it's functional. So I'm going to work on whacking out this hole on this side, and then I'll lay out the other one, and one on the other side is going to be next to that cutaway view. Yeah, it'll be right in this zone here. So that ought to be interesting. But we'll do the harder one first. Get that out of the way. Okay, so we got our hole fashioned in there. And then there's some little holes for ropes to go through. And there'll be a pulley outside. There's probably going to be some more down in there, but this is what was showing on the drawing in this step. And we got the two pieces sanded up, get rid of that seam from where they formed it in a mold, and then we painted it with the gold and the black. So those came out pretty good. We'll install them after they dry. We do have to wait and paint this little curlicue in here and the rims of the opening with some gold. But I want to wait for the black to dry good before I do that. So, but the piece fits there pretty good, and we did the little holes, one there, and I looked on the big drawing over there and found a couple more, and I went ahead and did them at the same time. Doesn't say anything in the directions about that in this step 47, even though they're highlighting that it's supposed to be 1.5 millimeter opening, about 3 millimeters long. So I looked at the plans and it showed a rope coming down and a pulley, and then after it went through the pulley, it went inside the ship through that opening. So I knew it had to be just an opening and not something to tie the rope to on the outside of the ship. I think it's going to go inside the ship and tie off so they can pull on it from in there. I'm sure that's what it is. But so we'll wait till that dries and and we'll put that side on and work on cutting out the other side. And it came out nice. Got the opening fashioned so the edges don't show on the piece when it's setting up there. So and we got the two bowsprit pin rack columns glued together. And we got some sheaves that we're going to put in here, pulleys. So this is where the bowsprit butts into on the deck. This will stand up like that and go down into the second floor. So we're going to open this up with a drill bit to accept those sheaves in that 1mm pin. I'm going to try to go all the way through, but trying to hold it level and flat against the press surface. I don't think we're going to make it all the way through with this drill bit though. I wonder if I should just chuck this up where it's a little longer. Let's see if it'll make it through that way. Let's try that and see. Nope. That is off center big time. I checked the plumbness of this drill face against the chuck head, but with these little teeny drill bits, it's hard to control where it walks to. We'll see if the pin will go all the way through there or not. Chair over here. I cut a piece of this 1mm brass stock. It comes in a roll, so it's got a little curve to it, and I got to try to straighten that out. It's pretty tight. Well, it's not real tight, but it is tight enough for. I'm going to have to open that up a little bit more in the drill press. Once it gets into that bowsprit butt block, it doesn't want to go anymore. So before we put that on the ship, we've got this pin rack for bolo pins, and the bolo pins are 1.63 millimeters. So I drilled this out to 1.73 to give me a little bit of slop for taking those pins in and out. And then later on, after the ropes and the rigging is done, we'll put a little dab of glue on them. So that's one of the bolo pins. There's a whole bunch of them. But that's what goes in this little rack, and the rack gets glued onto the front here. Right above. You can see our picture there. So we want to glue this on just above the bowsprit butt. And just below that fancy trimming on the top of the post. And I'm going to make the part facing the front of the ship, this one with the marks on it. Trying to get some of that glue off. I put a little bit too much on there. You can see where I had a band-aid in the last video where I cut my thumb. It's healing up nicely though. So this is going to install in front of the mast here. Like that. Just gotta make sure it's plumb and it goes down in there and sets on the other deck. And while I was assembling that, I went ahead and finished painting these decorations and got them glued on and the hole cut out on this side. I got the other one glued on in the back there. So they came out pretty nice. So once we glue that in place, that'll take care of step 47. '48. And then 49 is another grating that we got to make. And the plans here for photos 48 through 75, which is quite a few. There's only a sentence here. This greater part of the more laborious and the delicate work has now been done. After photo 48 is a case of fashioning and fitting parts into place, following the photographic sequence step by step, relying on the help of the parts list and the plans. Now, I got one of the plans laying on the floor over there. I need to get it taped back up here in the ceiling so I can see both sides easily. And then of course that's the parts list that tells all our pieces and sizes and what they're made out of, what kind of material they are and what size they are, and what the name of each part is. So we'll just go step by step and make these items and put them on as we go. Got a bunch of grading to do and moving on up. Okay, working on the gratings. This one is going to be for where the rudder handle comes out, and I'm going to glue these pieces of walnut on. Might have to cut a new one for one side there. Those are a little short. Overall, this is a little wide anyway. So I'm going to take this over in the grinder and grind a little bit off of this. So you can see we got the walnut glued on around the outside edge. You can see how this one I've rounded off the walnut frame, and that'll fit in over here. And we got another one I made yesterday that's going to fit in over there. And then this one, after it dries, will get rounded off. It's upside down. I gotta hold it this way. And the grating will actually go down in the opening a little bit, so the walnut will set flush on the deck. There's a little rabbit there, so we may have to trim out the opening a little bit. But that's the way that one looks in the drawing. And then yesterday I also made this one up, which I think it's mounted right here on the ship. So as previously stated, the steps 48 all the way to 75. It's got one sentence of instructions, and the rest is done by these photographs and the parts list, which tells us what kind of wood it is, or if it's metal, or what size it is, and how many they are, and what the name of it is. So each part designated by a number is cross-referenced back to the parts list, so we can create those parts and glue them together like we did here. We glued all those walnut strips on that and drilled those holes in it. And they'll put arms in those holes that they can push and turn this. I think that's for hoisting the mainsail yard arms. So we got a couple more of these, I think 4 more of these to build that go in the front. And we just did the one for the rudder, so we got 3 more, this one, that one, and that one we got to build for the gratings. And then we got to assemble this piece for the bolo pins, a rack for the pins to stand in. And there's a little few brass features on there, but just putting these gratings together is a matter of assembling these and cutting them to fit, sanding and grinding. We got a whole bag of them here that we used to create those gratings out of. And then you end up with a part like this after you're done gluing and putting all the pieces together. Because this one was so small and it had a big hole in the middle for the rudder stem, I used some super glue on the grating pieces before I put the framing on there just now with regular wood glue, so that opening wouldn't fall apart after assembly, cutting and sanding and everything. So that'll get installed in there. So we made some pretty good progress. We got those decorations on both sides. We got all that paint done, touching up. This one I finished, and I just got it jammed in the opening right now, because I got a feeling when I go to do the bowsprit, because the butt of the bowsprit goes into that hole, and I got a feeling I may need to do some work on that hole or whatever. I don't know until I do the bowsprit, so there's no reason to glue that in now. If I got to do some modifications to it, it'd be easier to work on it on the bench. So that's my thinking there. So we'll do 3 more gratings, finish the front off, and then we'll start on these other assemblies. And then we got some holes to do in the side like we showed you in the previous segment. Most of those holes are over here for a rope to pass through. One there, one over here. But one little thing at a time. Making progress though. Yeah, that thing goes right there next to this grate. We'll be referring to this a lot because now that we don't have any instructions on other than photographs and some numbers, we're going to use this and the parts list to figure out how those pieces are placed and what they look like, side views, top views. So we'll refer to that as much as we need to make them as close as possible to the real thing. Thanks for watching. Wooden Model Ship.